There are several ways you can go through and do this. I'm going to go through and use this one with synthetic division. However, you can use the polynomial solver or the table value feature in a calculator if you do have one. Now to start with this, we are going to do long division. I have that 6 is a real root. I'm also going to save myself a little time, and since I know that 6 is a root, that means x is equal to 6, or x minus 6 is equal to 0, so one of my factors is x minus 6. I synthetically divide by 6. Now I go through and I take all of the coefficients in my polynomial and I bring those down. So now I have 3, -2, -76, and -120. Let's go ahead and start the process. The 3 comes down. Then I have 6 times 3, which gives me an 18. I add -2 and 18, and that gives me a 16. Now I take 6 times 16, and that gives me a positive 96. So then I have 96 plus a -76, which gives me 20, and that's a positive 20. Now I take 6 times 20, which is a positive 120, and this is what I want here because this is equal to 0, which shows it's a root, which also indicates I have not made any mistakes. If you're told something is a root and you get anything other than 0 as a remainder, you do have some things that you have to go back and check to find out what's going on with that question. All right, now at this point in time, there's a couple different ways you can do it. I'm going to go through and factor this. So now I'm going to put this back into a quadratic, which becomes 3x squared plus 16x plus 20. Now to factor this, I'm using the fact that I know the first number here is 3 is prime. So I know my first two terms have to be 3x in the first parentheses and x in the second. The other thing that I know is that the factors of 20 need to go in the back two places of the binomials. Now, how do I want that to work out? I know that the inside term, when I multiply them together, and that the outside term have to add up to be 16. So I'm just going to take a guess with 20. I'm going to go ahead and use 2 and 10. Other ways I could go ahead and do that would be 4 and 5 are probably the two most popular. Now, if I put a 4 here and a 5 there, that would give me 4x and 15x. That's not going to give me 16, so that won't work. Can't use those. If I switch that around, that would be 5 and 4, and that would give me 5x and 3 times 4x, which give me 12. Again, that's not going to give me 16, so I don't want to use that. So the 4 and 5 don't work. I'm going to go back to my 2 and my 10. So I'm going to try a 2 here and a 10 here. That would give me 2x and 30. That's still not going to be right, so I'm going to switch those around. And that's going to give me my 10 and 2, and that's going to give me what I want. 10 times x is my 10x, 3x times 2 is 6x. I need them both to be positive. So I now have all of my roots, so I'm going to completely factor that. It's going to be x minus 6, 3x plus 10, and x plus 2 is my final factored form. Now, remember, we do have other ways of doing this instead of that way. again, you can go through and do a table of values. In your calculator, you can go through and use a polynomial solver for those are additional ways that you can find the factored form of a polynomial.